No matter how it may seem, no one has control over your life except for you. This is not personal, financial, or life advice. We're just a couple of guys and an occasional guest talking out loud. Welcome to the What Are We Doing podcast.
Morning, guys. What's going on? I was eating. Sorry about that.
Yo. What's up, everyone?
Kadeem started before I was ready. Anywho, we're here, though. Happy Monday morning. Another week, guys. If you listen to us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday night, 12 o'clock, or Monday morning before 4 a.m. for the next episode drop, I'm going in. But I'm here. I got my co-host here with me.
Yo. What's up, everyone? It's Kadeem Brown, live in the flesh, back like I never left. What's up, everyone? How's everybody's week going? How are you doing? How's your Monday? How's your Tuesday? How's your Wednesday? What's up?
And everyone says, we're doing good.
We're doing good.
Hold on. What's that?
A corny joke coming. That's what
you
it is.
Don't hear that?
Nope.
I hear breathing.
Great.
Is that another microphone in here?
Great.
Is that another person in here?
Corny joke coming.
Is that what this is? We got another guest today. The guests are back. Good scheduling. So we're going to get right into it. We have a guest today. And the guest that we have, this guy is Mr. Smooth Talker. This is every girl's dream right here. We got Mr. Corey Wiley right here.
What's up,
What's up, man?
Chilling, excited to be here.
What's up? Thanks for coming out. We appreciate you, bro.
Of course.
Who's Corey?
Corey, damn. Corey, I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
As everybody else, don't worry.
Day at a time.
Mm-hmm. So where you from?
I'm originally from Queens.
Yeah.
Far Rockaway. Living in Long Island now.
Dope. What part of Long Island you live in?
Lynbrook.
Oh, you should live kind of out there then.
Yeah,
so what's that? You guys are beefing?
What? No.
Lynbrook and Elmont?
Elmont doesn't have beef with Lynbrook. Elmont's on the map. We don't have beef with anybody.
Oh, excuse me.
How long you live in Lynbrook for?
Probably about like 4 or 5 years at this point.
Okay, what made you move out there?
Well, it's funny. I actually moved out there the day of, what was that? Hurricane Sandy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was actually away at school upstate in Albany.
Dope. I know mad people in Albany. Dope.
Yeah,
good party school.
So literally.
That's how you be judging schools by party. I've been there, had a couple parties there. Mad lit.
I tell people,
that's a good school.
What college you been to? I said, I've been to Albany. Because of them.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we had a
good times.
Got pretty crazy up there. But, yeah, so while I was living up there, that's when the hurricane hit.
Okay.
And I was actually moving the same day. I believe it was like November 29th or something like that. And literally the next day, my family moved into where we living at now. So I wasn't really living out there because I was away in school. But living there probably like 4 years.
So you was out in Far Rock before that. How was it like living in Far Rock?
I mean, I was always inside. I was never really involved in any of the crazy stuff.
You don't got to hold it. You can let it go. Yeah. We got some newbies.
It's kind of like leaning.
Hold on, we doing technical difficulties. Let's get back to the show. All right.
Yeah. But like I said, I was always inside. I was never really outside on the street. I was never involved in anything crazy. So for me, it was fine. Like I drove everywhere. I had my parents drive me everywhere. I went to private school. So I was never involved in the mix of any crazy stuff happening.
Right.
But
what private school you went to?
I went to Allen Christian School.
Big ups to Allen.
And then I went to Christ the King.
Big ups to King.
How is a public? You ever went to public school?
I mean, I went to public school for a year. I was living in Atlanta for a year, but it's nothing like New York public school. Like public school down there is honestly like private school.
Okay. Public school up here is like a free for all.
Yeah.
Every man for themselves. How is that?
It's not that big of a deal. Public school is pretty good. Get back to the show.
How is a private school? I always wondered that. How's the experience in private school? I mean, you probably don't know any different from private school. So what was the experience like?
My experience, it was more like I always got the vibe that we were paying just to have that name written down on our resume.
Right.
Okay.
Like I don't feel like I learned anything better or worse than.
You feel like that helped you get into Albany?
Yeah, I guess.
Why so though? Because of the name.
Because of the name, and then we had like career advisors and guidance counselors, all that. I don't know if they have that at public school.
Yeah.
we had those.
Do they have career advisors? I'm not sure there's career advisors. I mean, I guess it's called guidance counselors.
The goal of them basically is to get you into college.
Right.
I feel like when you're in a public school,
the goal is to get you out.
But more so, public school I think shows you more options for after school. This is just me being on the outside looking in. Private school, it was like, all right, you're here for 4 years, then you're going to college for 4 years, or you're going to this school for 2 years, and then you're going to transfer out. It's more so for you to get to college.
That's dope. And what do you study in college?
I studied sociology, but honestly, it just happened that way. It's such a general thing, but like. When I went in, I didn't know what I wanted to do. It was just
like everybody else.
My mom was straight up like, "You're going away to school." There's no. I didn't get the option of applying to community college. It was like, you're either going here. So Albany is funny. I originally wanted to go to Stony Brook, and I got waitlisted there. I got accepted into Albany. So, Leonard. One of our friends, he got into Albany as well, so we were just like, it's around the time everybody's doing the whole college application process. So we actually reconnected, and I was like, yo, where you going to school? He was like, yo, I'm going to Albany. I was like, oh, yo, I got into Albany too. He's like, yo, you want to go visit? So we ended up going to visit.
Where did the little voice come from just now?
That's his boy's voice. He gonna listen to this like, I do not sound like that.
Leonard sound like Barry White. He gonna give him a bitch voice.
He was like, all right, my bad. He was like,
they're like, yo, my voice does not sound that high.
He's like, yeah, man, I'm going to Albany
That
too.
sounds like Leonard.
So we ended up going. We ended up having a good time, and we ended up deciding to be roommates. And then we was ever since then. And it just worked out like that.
Right.
I think it was actually easier for me because that was my first time being away from home. Like I was always so at home all the time, and I could have been out there. I could have, wild out. I could have ended up, not where I'm at now. So it was good that I had somebody with me.
Yeah,
just
that's so true.
Go through that journey with. So
the support.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, regardless of what you do, you always want to have someone where you can actually, I don't want to say lean on, but just actually be there to actually be like a support system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially college. There's so much stuff out there. Especially being in a new city like Albany. First night, I'd never been to Albany before. So first night, we get out there and we're just like, yo, let's just take the bus somewhere.
Okay.
So
how did that turn out?
We ended up taking the bus, like, looking back, we didn't go that far, but like it's nighttime in Albany. Yeah. So we end up like, it'd be like 15 minutes down the road. It's pitch black, no street lights. It's kind of, I'm trying to kind of think of something to compare it to. It's kind of like being in, you ever been to an area in Brooklyn where it's just real dark and it's kind of sketchy looking?
Every corner.
Yeah. So the whole like strip is like that, but keep in mind this one street.
This is before New Brooklyn. This is the old Brooklyn he's talking about.
Hold on, what year did you go to what year you graduated high school and were in Albany?
I graduated in 2010.
Okay. And what year you graduated Albany?
2014.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, you were there. It looked crazy. I was trying to get a time frame.
Yeah, so it's just like pitch black. We two kids in a town we never been in, so we ended up finding like this Mexican restaurant. We ended up just like chowing down and then taking a cab back. But it was just it was cool to explore it. Yeah, it was a cool experience.
Yeah, we had our when Dr. Brown was up here.
Right,
she was talking about like just exploring the city, like getting used to the city that you're in, because she was traveling a lot. Like she was in Chicago, then Florida, Miami, and then she was taking the same thing. Like as soon as she got there, she kind of just went out and explored. So
especially when you know you're going to be there for a few years, you want to find out the environment. You don't want to just go there and just never leave the environment at all. You get lost, you're like, how the fuck I get back?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a New York thing too. So like when you go somewhere, you want to know where everyone's at, because in New York, you got to choose and pick where you go.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. Finally leaving, get to experience something different.
Yeah. So that's dope. So how was your degree? Like, how do you feel like that helped you? Did that help you?
Honestly, yeah. It was.
Wow, like, that's the first.
Now I'd say it helped me because. And maybe not even the degree, but just the experience of being away. Yeah, I learned a lot more about just being independent. Like I had never done laundry before.
Yeah,
I had never had to depend on myself for food and like just bare necessities. So it was good. I feel like I learned more about life than the education part of it. Like the classes I took, I've always been the type of student where I didn't study or I like did the bare minimum. Like I studied the night before, but I know how to pass a test. So like I just carried that up there and I just did the same thing and I ended up getting like a 3 point something.
Oh, sure.
And in my mind, I'm like, all right, if I can get a 3.2 without even trying, imagine if I tried what I could get. And that was always just like good enough for me, you know?
Okay, so you didn't really apply yourself when it comes to getting a better grade in school?
In the beginning, no. But then as I went along, that's when I got into sociology. I found classes that sort of more interesting to me.
Okay, and what is exactly sociology?
So sociology is just people. So like studying people, whether it's, you know, people in their environment, people interacting with other people. You know, there's so many different forms of sociology. Like I took a sociology class about like older people, just like senior citizens. Then there's like children. Then I took a class about just like, what is it, moral panic and cults.
And what's that?
That was actually real interesting. So it taught you about different, you know, conspiracy theories and just like, it's hard to explain. You'd have to be there, but like I give you an example. One of the things that stuck out to me was we learned about marijuana and why it was illegal. And I ended up learning that marijuana was only illegal because racist lawmakers back during that time, they ended up creating this lie that it made white women want to have sex with black men. And that was the basis of making it illegal in America. And when she explained that, I was like, wow, what else, you know, what else they lying to us about?
So keep going.
I don't know.
So looking back, would you regret going to college, or would you do it again? What would you do?
Looking back, I'd definitely do it again, but I'd definitely, you know, I'd pick something more practical. Just because, you know, you can learn a lot about people just without, like, I didn't need a class to learn a lot of the stuff that I learned. You know what I'm saying? I would have went and I would have learned something more practical, like maybe business, finance, something that like an actual skill
moving forward, right?
Yeah, I feel like I have the same takeaway from school too. Like what you said, like the biggest takeaways was like being independent, learning like about yourself, learning how to maneuver in the world, and networking too. And like the friends, like a lot of my friends that I had in college, I'm still mad cool with, like really really cool with. So my biggest takeaways were those two things. So I could definitely agree with you,
right? Because I personally feel that the best thing about college, especially nowadays, is a network. Regardless, I think the school system is, I mean, this is my opinion, I think the school system is a waste of time. But if you're going to go to school, you have to utilize the friends and people you meet there, because you never know who's going to become the next CEO, who's going to become the next this, who's going to become the next that. And if you maintain that relationship down the line, let's say if you, I don't want to say you need a job, if you need something, or you guys, you know, you want to work together, it'll be more easy for you to do so because you guys had that relationship from the past.
Exactly.
This guy, rookie over here. You okay, man?
and that, you brought up a good point. It's who you know.
Right.
Like life literally is who you know.
It's about the vibes as well.
It's not, you can know A, B, and C, but at the end of the day, you're getting a piece of paper, and there's 50 other people with that same piece of paper lined up for that same job.
Agree, because every job that I ever got was off of somebody that I know. I don't think I ever applied to a job and I didn't get it. I got it because I knew somebody. Like every job that I ever got was because I knew somebody. Even from when I started and like working at 14, 15, it was because of a connection, maybe like a family friend or something like that.
Right.
So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. And you read the job description, it'll say, "Oh, you need
2
a
years
bachelor,
experience for you,"
something like that. And then you go in and you know, you get the job, you start meeting people working there. They're like, "Oh yeah, I don't even have that. I just knew somebody."
Yeah. And they get mad at you. I remember working at ISA, they used to hate me when I was a supervisor and everything. They used to hate me, man. Especially when because I think you needed a 2 or 4 year degree. You needed one of the two, and obviously I didn't have either. They used to hate me. Oh, why I gotta listen to him? He ain't even got to go back to work.
You know, it's like a lot of like national like people do it, like culture people do it, like especially you see in jobs, like if you go into some place like let's use 7-Eleven, you always see like them hiring their kind. Of course. That's how it always goes. I feel like that's the best way to like help your community out, basically, or help your people per se out. Exactly, because there's like so much stigmas to hide. If you go in like a gas station, there's gonna be this type of person working there. If you go into 7-Eleven, if you go even to like Wendy's or like McDonald's, you'll only see like one group of people working, because when one person gets in, they bring their whole their whole crew is out.
Exactly.
And that's the way. That's how you should progress in life, though. It's
Yeah.
like one of us get into it. I'm gonna keep this door open for the opportunity so we can all get in, and that's how we're gonna progress.
Exactly. Even like the biggest things, like the Jewish community in Brooklyn,
definitely.
like they all band together. They only like put their money into other Jewish like places.
That's the way.
They got their own police. They got their own hospitals. They got their own everything. Their own money.
If you think about it, exactly. If you think about it, if you go to, you see big communities, like you'll see big communities of like Jewish people. Then you'll go to like Flushing or something like that. You'll see big communities of Asians. Like every group is like kind of sticking together and helping each other out.
That's how you grow.
Exactly. The best way to go and the quickest way to go. Yeah. So what's life after college? What did you do after college?
Yeah, so you left college 2014. Let's get up there. 2014, leaving college, you got the degree. You're looking back like this is a waste.
So initially after I graduated, my plan wasn't to get a job at all for some reason. You know what? So that's when my eyes had been opened up to networking.
Right.
Like initially, just like talking to people and meeting people. So there was that opportunity. You remember Wake Up Now?
Yeah, I remember that.
So I'm like, yo, I'm about to be rich.
Yeah,
I'm about to make
we all
money.
know, yeah.
I'm about to just go out and explore the world, go on trips, all that. And then whatever.
You should be here.
That was
World Ventures.
World Ventures.
But
Blue
similar.
Sign.
They was all the same. They was all the same.
Everybody got that's the.
I know people who still make money in that though. So,
that was the start of the entrepreneurial wave. I feel like that whole network marketing.
Yeah.
That's when everybody really got the shit.
hip
Like,
to it, right.
I can do stuff for myself. I don't need anybody
But you see,
else.
the thing with World Ventures that stuck out to me was you got a tangible product. You were getting vacation.
Right.
Okay.
You
Okay.
were paying for vacations. Wake Up Now is this concept that you just got to find 12 people.
That's what we cared about. Yeah, you get quote unquote discounts, but no one really cared about that. So everybody was just grinding to get the people.
So you get your 12 people, and then boom, you get $600 in your pocket every month. So that alone, I was like, oh shit. So I can get that, and then I'm straight. So I didn't really put the work in. I was looking for ways to just get around doing like the
bare minimum.
Exactly.
That same college mentality you had.
Ooh, that was good.
Exactly. You are who you are. At the time, that's just the way I was thinking. I was like, I just got to find 12 people. However I get it. And it didn't work out. The company ended up doing what it did, and eventually fading away. So that's when I was like, all right, I got this degree. What can I do with it? And I didn't really know much. All I knew was I had a degree. So I went online and just looking around and looking at different random jobs of things I like to do. And I ended up finding this job at this gym, but not your traditional gym. It was like a kids gym kind of thing.
Okay.
But it was like a startup company. It was real fun. Like I went in, the interview, I was all nervous, and they were just mad chill. They were like, "Oh, we're just gonna come in, we're gonna have fun."
And that helped you out, right?
It helped me out.
Right.
Yeah, it was a good environment. So I ended up working there.
How long ago after graduation did you get that job?
That was probably like October. I graduated in probably June, May, whenever. Yeah. So figure a couple months.
Okay,
I didn't take no real amount of time off. The Wake Up Now thing was quick.
Okay.
All of that probably happened within like 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then keep in mind, like I had also been working at a camp, but a sleepaway camp.
I remember that. Yeah.
So I wasn't around to even like really do it. I was just doing a lot of reading about it, and that's the thing with my mind. Like sometimes I'll find something, I'll just read about it, but then I'll forget I have to go out and do the work. So I was just reading. Like I knew every you do this at $600, you get $600. Then the next level is, but like asked me to go talk to somebody about it. I was like, I was going up to family members and showing them this, and they were like, yeah, this is good. And then that's me every week texting them like, yo, you ready to sign up?
It's actually great that he brought that up. He would read so much about it and then forget he has to do the work. And so many people think that like they say that knowledge is power. Like they say that, you read all these books and you have all this knowledge, but they forget that knowledge is power once it's applied.
Yeah,
exactly.
Once you actually go out and do the work, that's when the knowledge becomes power.
Yeah, we were talking about that a while ago, just saying like, especially me, like talking about I read all these personal development books, and I was taking the ease of a personal development because I have like you said, the knowledge. It's time for me to apply it and actually put it in practical situations where I can apply it. So yeah,
and it's cool you brought that up because. Me personally, like to skip forward, like where I'm at now, I'll go back, when necessary. But I was in the same boat with the personal development stuff. Like I was so overwhelmed with it, but it was so fascinating. like it's always something to read about out there.
Yeah.
You know, you're learning from people that have been doing this for 50 years or so.
Exactly.
And new stuff just keeps coming out. It's like a never-ending thing.
Cycle, right?
But then I was honestly, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but I was getting to a point where I couldn't tell what was me and what was a book.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me a simple question, and I'm just like spitting facts at them. But like, who's really speaking right now?
Yeah.
Am I speaking, or is it
The author?
the author of the book speaking? And it got to a point where it was just too much. So similar, like I've been taking a break from all of that stuff.
Yeah. So I
you've
was gonna say I agree with that, and but what you said is you're reading somebody's 50 years experience. That's why I always recommend people to books. I was talking to like a group of kids last week or on Monday, and one of the girls asked me, "Oh, how do you get into real estate?" And what I was saying is like, "Yo, how do you do anything? You have to read up on it. Like I can sit here and tell you how you get into real estate and what you have to do. This is who you got to speak to. But if you pick up a book and you read a book, that's somebody who has 40, 50 years experience in real estate, putting it down to 200, 300 pages,
right,
or putting it on an audio book that you can just listen to, and they're going to give you their experience and everything like that. So like that's what I always tell people. Like if you want to do something, pick up a book. Like a book is somebody's years and years, like their failures, their goal, they're reaching them goals. Like that's what you have to pick up and listen to.
Right, like a book, a person, no matter what, anything is mentorship that's gonna get the type of skill that you want.
Yeah,
and it's as you just said, piggybacking off of that, people think that they can skip that process. Like no matter what, you need to learn it from someone else.
Yeah,
speaking, you learn it from someone else. It's not like you wake up and you say, I know how to talk now. You say, God got Google.
Yeah,
so someone older says over and over, like, yo, let's say mom, let's say dad, you start off with these things and then you move forward. So yeah, that's a perfect example right there.
And the key, like reading it, but then going out and applying it, like you said, applying it and getting your own experience with it, because you're not going to get the same.
Not at all.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Just because you followed A, B, and C, the world changes, people change.
Exactly. You gotta put it to action. So what are some of those books you were reading? Like name some of those books. If you name your go-to book. No, like your go-to book. Somebody asks you what book should I read, what are you gonna tell them? Like what's your go-to book?
So it really depends. It's like
okay.
I've learned to use them as tools more so. Like if I have a specific thing I'm looking to learn about or a specific question, I go to a specific book for that.
Okay,
but the first,
that's my answer to it when people ask me like, what are you going through? What are you going through? What do you want to learn?
Exactly.
Like so I agree with that.
So the framework for me started off with this book by Don Miguel Ruiz called The Four Agreements.
Okay, I heard the book.
It's just, it opened my eyes and my heart to a new way of thinking and feeling and processing, different things around me.
Yeah.
The principle is that there's these 4 agreements that everyone should follow and adapt to their everyday life. Okay. And by following them, life just becomes beautiful. Not literally that simple, but it simplifies life for you. So the first one was don't take anything personal. Think about, every day of life. Somebody cuts you off on the road, you take it personally, then all of a sudden you have a messed up day because of something that someone else did, know? The next one was always do your best. So realizing that doing your best changes per situation. So like my best today, I had a great 8 hours of sleep last night. I ate breakfast. Might be amazing, but tomorrow I may not have the same start to my morning. So my best tomorrow might be a little bit different. Okay. So always doing your best. I can't think of the other 2 off the top of my head, but that was the initial. That was
general
start.
Okay.
Yeah. So once I read that, then the same dude who wrote that, he had a bunch of other books. It was like a little set. So he had this book called the Mastery of Love, which was really good. Okay. I can't think of the other ones, but I started off reading about him because his books, they're very simple. Like they're very like. You can open them. There's not a lot of big words. It's something that invokes thought. Yeah.
Were you always a reader before that?
And that's funny. I was never a reader.
Okay, yeah.
I was never a reader. I don't know when I became one. Yeah. Growing up, I used to live with my grandparents. So my grandpa, he is the one who always read all this stuff. Like because he's been involved in networking his whole life. He's been doing like the Amway thing.
Okay, yeah.
So
a
a lot of their stuff is personal development.
Yeah,
so
of course.
I had all the books and tools around me, and he used to suggest stuff, and I used to be like,
Yeah,
I ain't reading.
Yeah.
But then like growing up, I started to understand like, wow, like, and it's not a lot of people who read. So
Because you started to relate to it.
that started to
to
relate.
And that's the thing with me too. Like in school, I was never a reader. Like I didn't care about Twilight. I didn't care about Harry Potter. I didn't care about The Giver. What was it? Of Mice and Men. I don't care about that stuff. But once I started reading things that interest me, I care about it. And now I want to learn more about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest thing. Like nobody really, once you find a purpose or like a goal, or you have like, okay, the light switches on in your head, like, yo, this is kind of what the direction that I want to do. Now it's easier to read. Because I was the same way. I didn't read one book till after college. Like I never read one full book till after college.
Shout out to Spark Notes.
Yeah. And Cliff Notes and Google.
I'm quiet over here.
Yeah, but yeah, that was me. That was me 24/7. It was just, like taking those shortcuts. Like I'm not reading this book. Let me do this. Or sometimes I would read the first paragraph or just bullshit it. Like the teacher's not actually reading through it. Like so many kids and stuff like that. Like. So yeah, I was the same way. So
find loopholes.
Exactly. So now you're working at this gym and everything like that. How's that experience?
So initially it was cool. It was I don't regret any of it. It was great.
Part of your journey.
It's part of the journey. So at the time, that's what I was ready for. I was ready for something simple, just to see what working was like. Because I had like little summer jobs, but I had never had a consistent job. So this was my first real work experience. So I started off making like $10 an hour, something simple. Ended up going up to like 14 in a short period of time. So I was feeling myself.
Yeah,
I was like, all
was.
right, cool. But then working there, so this is a Jewish establishment. So a lot of the clients, all the clients were dealing with the Jewish.
Yeah, you see, and that's exactly what we're talking about. Like they only support their people. It's not like, you're gonna find another establishment or another establishment. Like that's how communities are really formed and grow. Like exactly what you said.
But once you get in though, you're kind of in for life.
So
you work with the right people.
I started just meeting people, and all of them are business owners. Like this is a mommy and me class essentially. So it's all moms who are stay-at-home moms bringing their kids. All the dads have their own businesses. So they're just in there talking about nothing. They don't got nothing going on in life.
No worries, no cares.
They just chilling. So just hearing them and hearing some of their like their husbands, the type of stuff they do. I started thinking like, wow, I got this bachelor's degree. Yeah. And, seeing my friends and what they're doing, like, why am I here? Like I could be doing so much more. So I ended up finding a job working as a residential counselor, which is like a direct support worker, just dealing with people with special needs. Okay. Stuff like that.
Like older people or younger people?
Nah, so where I worked was unique. It was a high school. Okay. But it was kind of like they slept there as well. That's why it's called a residential school.
Oh, so they live there basically.
They live there, but they're not. These are all well-off kids. None of them are like struggling in life. Okay. They go home on the weekends. It's a sick budget that they had. They got like flat screen TVs, recliners.
You're killing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a dope setup.
Where's the school at?
That
in Long Island?
So that's in Long Island.
Okay.
That's in Long Island.
Okay. What part of Long Island?
That's in Westbury.
Okay.
Went to the wrong school. Public school?
Nah, it's private.
So the way it works is the doctors or whatever, they'll like write out a diagnosis for the kid.
Okay.
And then the school district of the town where the kid is actually a resident of will pay for them to be at this school. So the parents aren't paying anything.
No, taxpayers.
Yeah, basically.
So what are some of like the issues, or like what are these kids diagnosed with?
So it's high functioning autism. That's what initially it was. Like as time went on, they started bringing in different kids for different reasons, but initially it was high functioning autism. So figure kids who are super smart, savants. They can literally recite like a whole speech from somebody in the 1800s, but you ask them to go to the store and buy a bag of chips, they freeze. They're just very socially awkward. They don't know how to make friends. They might have been bullied in the past. They might have had like past traumatic experience. So that's the type of kids. Very smart. So you could talk to them about anything. Yeah. But then you take them out in the community, and it's like, walk down the block and go ask somebody something, and they're like they just freeze.
So after that school, how do they transition into like in college, or how do they transition to the real world?
So for that school, a lot of them will end up going to like 4-year universities.
Okay.
A lot of them got like scholarships to like Delphi, Hofstra, like real schools. Some of them, they just don't have the capability of functioning at that level, so they'll go straight to the workforce. Okay. Some of them will end up at a group home where they'll just, it's just another place for them. And then some of them will go back home. Okay. So it all depends on their, how severe whatever they're dealing with is. Mm-hmm.
That's dope. That's where you work. You still work there now?
No. So that was about 3 years ago. So I started there doing that. I ended up leaving because.
So now fast forward to when?
Fast forward to maybe like a year later.
Mm-hmm. So now we're up to this year or last year?
This is
no, it's like 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
It's
still doing a timeline.
Yeah, it's still kind of early. So 2016, I had been there. So I was working there, and I was still working at the kids gym at the same time. Okay. So like I was working like 7 days a week.
Yeah.
He was grinding.
Every day.
I just hit my limit. I hit my wall. I was like, I can't do both of these. So I ended up leaving the kids gym one, and I ended up doing this only. But then, I started to get to that point. Like, that's one thing with me. When I get real comfortable somewhere, that's when I start itching. I'm like, all right, what else could I be doing?
You got to grow.
Yeah. So I ended up finding a job working with a similar population, but more like just in the community work. So we weren't in like a building. And I ended up leaving working there. But not leaving. Like, I was doing more like on-call stuff. Okay. So I was working like Thursday evening, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. after working like a full day at the other spot. Yeah. And then I would do like every other Saturday or something. Just hold on.
So which spot was during the day you were talking about? The day?
All right. So So during the day, I was doing this thing called respite. So it was figure like kids whose parents are too busy to spend time with them, or maybe the home isn't the best place for them 5 days a week or 7 days a week. Okay. So respite by definition is a break. So my job was to pick the kid up from school, take him, get some food, hang out, go play some, just kind of like a big brother kind of program.
That's a dope job.
Yeah, it was fun, but the only issue with that was I had to use my own car, so I'm putting mileage. I'm like all over Long Island. Sometimes I'd have to see like 2 or 3 kids a day, and keep in mind kids are in school all day, so this is all between like 1 and 9 p.m.
Okay.
So like I would start at 1, I'd have to shoot over to. My craziest day, I had to start off in like Westbury. Then I had to go to Garden City. Then I had to drop kids off in Freeport. Then from Freeport, I have to go straight to Farmingdale.
Oh, wow.
Then from Farmingdale all the way back to Garden City, because in Garden City was like the home office. So in the office, we had like Nintendo Wii's, Xbox, PlayStation, all
That's where
that.
you really went to chill and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So these are well-off kids.
Yeah, they're well-off.
The places you're naming
they're well-off.
Well-off.
It's nothing wrong with them. They're just, it might be a little
socially awkward.
Socially awkward.
Some tweaks that need to be.
Or like ADHD. Something real simple.
Okay.
But it's just, it's a service. I understand. Why not take advantage of a free service?
Of course, yeah.
And this is all coming out of my pocket too. Like I'm paying for it. The agency is reimbursing me like every week or so. I'm taking like 4 kids out a day. I'm spending money.
So you had to spend the money out of your pocket, and they pay you back at the end of the week.
They take taxes off? They take taxes off?
So we had like these tax exempt forms that you hand in.
Yeah, nonprofit because you're working for the government.
Oh, it's nonprofit. Okay.
Exactly. It's all nonprofit.
I didn't know that.
I'm spending money, but I'm making enough. But when I'm sitting down looking at the numbers and all that,
it's not really being consistent growth.
I'm making the same amount of money that I was making working at the other spot, working in the school. Okay. So just from a financial standpoint, and like just from my car, like the wear and tear and stuff, I was putting so much mileage on it. Yeah, I ended up texting my old boss like, "Yo, can I come back?" Yeah. So then he ended up saying, "Yeah, we'll take you back," but they had opened up this new position, like a management kind of position. Okay, and I had a pretty good. I did pretty good work in there. I had a good report. Yeah. I didn't cause any drama or anything. Plus, I'm a minority, so it looks good. I got to throw that out there. Got to throw that out there.
It looks 0.1 in there.
It looks good. It looks good. So
need that.
He's like, yeah, we have this new position called senior residential counselor. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll check it out. So I ended up applying for it and figure in like January of what year is this, 2018? Yeah, like January of 2017 I started, or like February of 2017, real early in the year. So I ended up doing that, and it was pretty much the same thing. It was just easier. Like now, instead of being like as hands-on, I was kind of behind the scenes but hands-on at the same time. So I was doing like a million things at once. So I did that for about a year, just like consistently doing that for about a year. Till maybe like November. So then around
November of last year.
November of 2017. So November of 2017, I get the word that two of my bosses are resigning. So next level up is the position that I had recently, which was coordinator of residential services. So basically like
step up.
Think of the residential. So the way it was set up, it was a school, but it was like they lived there as well. Okay. So there's like the school half, and then there's like the residential half. So you know, like in a school, the principal like runs the whole school.
Yeah. Do you have superintendent?
Principal.
No, I mean like I thought you meant step up would be a superintendent.
Nah. The principal ran the whole school, so my job was kind of like the principal of the residential aspect.
Okay.
So I was, pretty much just the boss. It was me and this other girl. So we both had been senior residential counselors. Both of our bosses left, so we just replaced them. And that's the good thing about working in jobs like that. They look for people within.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I had a good record. I had been doing the right thing. So my boss was like, yeah, I think this would be a good idea. So I ended up applying for it, ended up getting it. Boom. Totally different though. So working as a coordinator, it's one of those jobs where you're on call 24/7.
Yeah.
So when you're not at work, you're still at work. And I had great people working there, so I didn't really have to deal with that. Yeah. But it was just like,
it's still optional.
It's the thought that like, yo, if the building sets on fire right now, I have to be there. You know what I'm saying? And at first it was cool because I got a crazy pay raise. I was making like double what I was making.
Yeah. So you was
still living at home. I'm eating like lobster, mac and cheese. I'm chilling. Everything is great, but me personally, I continued to grow, and I kind of felt like I was outgrowing it because I was very comfortable. Yeah. Like some people, my age aren't making any money, especially with just a 4-year degree nowadays.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was making a little bit of money, so I was feeling myself. I was like, all right, I could rock here for a little bit, but I started to get comfortable,
itchy
like I
again.
said.
That itch.
So, this is probably around. Yeah, I started in probably like January, February. Okay. So not even that far down the road, in like June
of this year.
Yeah. They had their graduation. They asked me to give a speech, so I ended up giving a speech about. I ended up giving a speech about the 4 Agreements, the book that I had initially talked about, where it all started, and I was getting like crazy feedback from it, and it kind of opened my eyes. Like, wow, you have a gift for something, and working here is great. You're learning, but what is this stopping you from really doing? Yeah, exactly. So that's when I started thinking, like, I'm here to do more than that. I didn't know exactly what. I still don't know exactly what, but I was like, maybe it's time for me to just see what else is out there again.
So what'd you do right after graduation?
After graduation, I stayed there. I didn't have a plan. I was like, in my mind, I knew something had to change soon. I don't know when, but I know something has to change soon. And this is like June, so it's summertime. I had like stuff I wanted to do. I had like trips I wanted to take. I'm making good money. I'm like, let me just ride this out for a couple more months. So working there, it started to become kind of stressful. It not like real stressful, but just it was like a culture change.
If it's like a school, what are you doing over the summers then?
They still live there.
Oh, they still live there.
It's year round. It's year round.
Okay.
So it was like a lot of people that were working there were starting to leave. A lot of people were moving on because figure it's a lot of student like college
graduation.
Not like I'm talking about the people who work there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like it's a lot of young staff, people who are in grad school, people who don't want to be there forever. So people started leaving, and I'm seeing all these people leaving, and I'm like, wow, maybe this is a sign for me that I should be leaving too.
Yeah.
So I just made a decision. I was like, you know what? And initially I was like, I'm gonna leave end of August, but there was some stuff. They're having like an audit coming up,
of course.
So I was like, I'll stick around and help out for that.
And the audit was in July or August?
Nah, the audit was in September.
Okay.
So
this was last month.
Yeah, recent. And I was like, you know what? I'll stay till the end of September. So I asked my boss. I was like, listen, I'll stay, but can I get the first 2 weeks of September off? I want to take some trips.
Yeah.
So me and Ohizwa, who was on the podcast in the past, we ended up going.
As a listener.
Yeah, of course. So we ended up going to South Beach, and you know, it's totally different down there. And keep in mind, I hadn't taken a trip or like been away from work for at least like 5 months. So being away and not having my phone and like people asking me shit and like
completely different, right?
It was great. It was great, and the feeling, bro. I never felt so. Like, I felt like I had just graduated again. Like, when I first got out of college, I felt like the world was mine. I was yo, I can do anything. So I got that feeling back, and I told myself, I was like, yo, I don't even want to lose this feeling. So that's when it made sense. I was like, you know what? You're doing the right thing. Leaving a job is definitely the right move. And I said, September 28th, this is it. So I made that my day, and I left. And it's funny, I had a plan of staying there but not doing the position I had. I had a plan on working, you know, they had like a maintenance little thing. Because aside from doing the residential stuff,
there's
like
a bunch of different stuff.
It's a bunch of stuff. Like I was just
there's a school.
I literally was doing so much like maintenance kind of work. Like if a student ripped down a bulletin board, it was my job to go back and fix it. So like I learned how to use a drill. I learned how to use my hands. I learned how to do things. So I was like, yeah, if I could work here maybe 2 or 3 days a week and only deal with like the fixing, the building up, you know,
be all right.
I'll be all right.
Yeah. You develop skills while you're doing something else. And that's great because people forget that when you do something, you can always find something within that's a skill you can develop.
Exactly. So I started to just want to do stuff with my hands. As weird as that sounds to say it. But
we're not gonna talk about that one. Okay.
So but then I don't know. Like I got a feeling one day. Like I the way life had been moving and still continues to move, I've been learning to just go with things and just listen. Yeah. And not really overanalyze and just, you know, go with the flow. So something in me, I don't remember how it came to me, but something in me was like, yo, if you stay there and do that maintenance thing,
it's gonna be locked in.
It's because you're scared to leave. You just want that security. It's a security blanket at the end of the day. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna cut ties altogether.
Of course, yeah.
And you know, I did it.
So now what do you do?
So now, this is only my first week not doing anything.
We going fresh in the. We going fresh.
Yeah, we got.
This is my first week not doing anything.
So I said when I leave this job, the one thing, because I had developed an interest in fitness and, you know, eating and, you know, just things for myself. I've developed an interest for it over time. And I started to see the importance of it. And I started to see how people will literally neglect their own health and wealth just for the sake of a paycheck. I was like, I'm going to do the complete opposite. I'm just going to completely ignore that whole side of things, and I'm just going to focus on me. So this week, that's all I've been doing.
Okay.
Right, I really wanted to focus on that. I was like, when is he going to talk about it? Let's actually speak on, I know we're going to backtrack, but let's speak on you actually being more in tune with your body as well as the food. When did that process come? Because I don't know when that happened. I think, well, I'll let you tell it. I remember, I'll just let you tell it.
I can't really pinpoint an exact time, but
you used to eat bad as I did. We used to go to chicken wings every single day.
Yeah,
so
man,
how did that transition to
I don't know. I believe it started off with spinach. Like I started off just buying spinach for some reason. I don't know where I saw it or where it would give me the idea.
You watching Popeye cartoon?
Maybe. I don't know. But I started off just anytime I went to the grocery store, I started buying spinach. And with every meal, I would eat spinach. To the point where if I went out to a restaurant with people, I'd have my spinach in a Ziploc bag in my pocket.
What?
Yeah. Because in my mind, like spinach, no matter what else was on my plate, if I had spinach next to it, it was a healthy meal.
Well, that'd be different. You gotta do things that works for you. So I'm not knocking it.
So I started off there. Then from there, so before I had got the new job, making a lot of money where I was working, my uncle actually has a business with fresh produce in Brooklyn. So I started working there like every Monday because I was working Tuesday through Saturday. So Mondays at like 6 a.m., I was out in Brooklyn just like boxing vegetables and stuff. And I loved it, making boxes. I just the conversation, it's a totally different way of working. I had been working with people my whole life, or my short work life. So doing something hands-on, it was fun. Like I was up making boxes. We're in a factory, cutting up produce, weighing it, putting it in a box, sampling it. Yeah, it was interesting. So then I started thinking, like, what else is out there that's really good for you? Can't just be spinach, So then I moved on to kale and carrots.
I like kale.
And the fact that I was working there with my family, I would be able to take stuff home.
Okay,
so I was
nice.
taking stuff home and trying it, and that's when I started to change how I ate. Like, I feel like people we eat too much for the taste of food, but we don't always weigh as heavily what the food is doing to us. So I got past the bitterness of eating things that I didn't really want to eat because I didn't like how they tasted.
Yeah.
And I started eating things because
It's good.
there's
what it would do.
50,000 nutrients in it. So,
I hear you.
So I working there definitely opened my eyes up to that.
So since you started eating like a lot cleaner, how do you feel like that directly affected like how your body is and like how your mind is, how you think? Is that like a direct reflector? Or
Yeah,
not really?
it's crazy. Like my mind was definitely sharper, and it's not like it wasn't like an overnight thing.
Yeah.
It started off with the eating, but then the exercise as well. So backtrack again, when I was working at that kids gym initially, maybe like towards the end of my tenure there, I joined New York Sports Club, which was directly across the street.
Okay.
Didn't know nothing. I was just like, oh, I got a gym membership now, so let me just go here. So I was doing a little bit of stuff, nothing. I was probably like 135.
Yeah.
Twig.
That was,
So I actually ended up getting a personal trainer there who, looking back, knew nothing.
Just as much as you, right?
Yeah, dude was skinnier than me. So I was paying all this money. I was paying like,
the hell was that about?
what?
Skinnier than you still paying him?
I didn't know anything.
Yeah,
you got to think. I'm fresh. I'm like, oh, I got a gym membership. Oh, I got a trainer. I'm going to do whatever he says,
Okay.
Very naive. Very naive. And working with him, it just didn't feel right, And I've always been the type of person to teach myself things.
Yeah.
So I ended up stopped going there, ended up joining Blink and doing my own thing.
Yeah, a lot of people go to Blink.
How'd you find out what to do though? What workouts to do?
All right, so
research, like, what'd you look up?
A lot of research, but then on top of that,
you researched what on what?
Just like different exercise. My barber, he
like Google, YouTube, and all that stuff.
Yeah, Google stuff. My barber, he's a skinny dude, so he was telling me I'm what you call a hard gainer. So basically, just like you got to eat a lot and work out a lot.
So you use Google, you use networking with others from people's experiences.
Yeah, and big shout out to my boys Andy and Trevor and Jason.
Yeah, Andy's a beast.
Because initially I started going to Valley Stream Blink, and then I found out about Blink and Baldwin. Blink and Baldwin is totally different. It's like double the size. So going there, I met up with Trevor. So Trevor is my boy from like way back in the day. Like I knew him when I was little through church and like stuff like that. So seeing him in the gym, this dude is like jacked, like at least like 200 pounds, brolic, pure muscle. So I'm looking at him like, yo, this is the type of people I need to be working out with.
Yeah.
So one day he was like, yo, jump in the set with us. So I ended up just like working out with them.
Yeah.
And this was like November. This is probably like November 2016. Like I remember specifically after Thanksgiving saying, all right, now I'm gonna take it serious.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I started off working with them.
That's the same mentality. Like, you'll surround yourself around people who you want to like be with. Doesn't have to be like their whole. You want to be everything like them. But if you see them killing in the gym, go hang out with those people at the gym.
Exactly.
Like,
and I knew, like, even in college, I never worked out, but I knew like one day I'm gonna get this. I can't be skinny forever.
Yeah.
So it was my time. I felt like it was my time. So meeting up with them to this day, I still my friends. I still talk to them. I still see them all the time.
Yeah.
It started off in the gym though. So working out with them, I learned a lot of stuff. I learned, proper form. I learned more so about eating, just being in that environment. I ended up meeting people at the gym, being cool with trainers.
Yeah.
So man, it just opened my eyes to different types of workouts.
So what's your eating like right now? Like.
So it's crazy. It changes. It changes like day to day, but the basis of it, I always make sure I start with some eggs bacon, and green.
So you still eat meat and stuff like that?
I still, yeah. I can't give that up. So I start off with 2 scrambled eggs. This is every morning. I start off with 2 scrambled eggs and brown eggs, cage free usually. Stop and Shop has this really good bacon. It's like, it's not your cheap like Oscar Mayer like flimsy stuff. This is like, I think it's like turkey thighs shaped into bacon. It's delicious, and it has maple flavor. I'm getting hungry right now. So
listeners getting hungry too.
I start off with the eggs, and then I still get greens from my uncle's business.
Okay.
So like every 2 weeks, I get a bag. It'll usually have kale, spinach, lettuce, just random stuff. I'll chop it up and I'll put that on the side. I'll eat that. That's breakfast. And then usually about a couple of hours later, because I have a fast metabolism, I get hungry like super fast. I have a smoothie. And in my smoothie, I have, what do I put? First, I'll put like a couple scoops of Greek yogurt. I have this protein blend, but it's just like a whole bunch of greens. It's vegan and vegetarian approved. It has like a whole bunch of greens in it, a whole bunch of different plant-based proteins. And it tastes, it's kind of vanilla-ish flavored. So I'll throw that in. Then I'll put some more greens in it. I put berries. I put chia, flax. I can't, like, I just do it. Like, I can't really think exactly. This is like a whole bunch of stuff. And it tastes delicious. It tastes delicious. So I'll have that around like noontime. Maybe like a couple hours later, I'll have a lunch. And my lunch will usually be protein, some sort of carbs, but like good carbs, like a brown rice or a sweet potato, quinoa, and then just like a whole bunch of greens. The key is for me is just like every meal to have more vegetables than protein. Like the protein, because I get so much of it from the smoothie and the breakfast and the recovery drink. I don't want to overdo it. So the greens, you can never get too much of.
I hear you. So somebody who wanted to try to get into that like routine and everything like that, what are some of like the small steps? I eat like fast food every single day. What are some of those small steps? Because that's what basically used to like you guys were talking about. Like guys eat a lot. What's some of the steps that you use to like transition to starting eating good?
Definitely start off with drinking water. Because drinking water alone, you can eat like shit, but if you drink water, it'll somehow, like, you won't be as bad off.
I hear you.
So I started off drinking water.
Okay.
And I started off drinking like 64 ounces they recommend, but then when you're active and exercising,
gotta raise that.
You should raise
that's like
that.
2 liters. Or how much is in a liter?
I don't even know.
You don't even know. Okay.
I drink me personally, I drink like a gallon a day.
Okay.
So I'll start off every morning like around 8. Like as soon as I wake up, the first thing I do, I have this water bottle. I actually have it with me. I'll put 20 ounces of water in, and then I'll mix it with a little bit of sea salt and some lemon, and I mix it up. Because the minerals from the sea salt, somehow, like, in the morning, it kind of just, like, wakes you up. Okay. Yeah. So I'll drink that. Then while I'm making my breakfast and smoothie and all that, I'll have, like, another 20. I've gotten to the point where I could drink water like that. Like, I could drink 20 ounces of water in, like, 5 seconds. Okay. So drinking water is become a habit. But, yeah, drinking water would definitely be a start. Okay. And changing, like, don't try to do a million changes at once.
Yeah, take it slow.
Take it slow. Like, I would definitely recommend like a breakfast. Like start off
eating good on your
and
breakfast.
Then breakfast, lunch, and then breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then keep that flow.
Yeah, because it's not about like nobody is gonna eat 100% good.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I still eat things that I love to eat.
Of course, yeah.
But it's about moderation, and it's about, I think of it like an 80-20 thing. Like if 80% of the things that you're eating are good and you can track where they came from, and they're, it's not loaded in grease and fast food and all that. Use the weekend and splurge. Have a good time, but just good. Stay sharp.
That's good.
Priority.
Not bad at all. So yeah, I don't know. So what are you gonna plan to do? What's your future plans then? Like, what do you plan to do? So now you're not working right now.
Not working.
So what's your goals right now?
It gets better. So I told myself I wasn't gonna find a job, and around the time that I was like trying to figure out, because it started to become stressful, like working at a job that I know I'm not gonna have in a couple months. Yeah. What am I going to do after? I still got bills. I still got stuff I got to pay for. So a friend of mine that works with me, he actually put in a word for me somewhere else and ended up getting me an interview working in a different job. And the way it happened was it kind of just fell in my lap. Like I didn't apply for it or anything.
Okay. Like we were talking about before. Like everything we do is like off of word of mouth.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I had ended up reading. So let me backtrack a little bit more. I keep backtracking.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
So I was having a tough time at work one day, and I was just looking for answers online. I was just like Googling random stuff that I found interesting. And I ended up coming across this like retreat weekend that happens in California, ran by this woman and this guy who actually were on a podcast that I was listening to, which is how I ended up researching it. And the retreat is called, I think it's called Something for the Soul. Like Something for the Soul. I can't think of exactly what it is. But when you go on the website, you have to like apply to be on it in the retreat. And what happens is they end up calling you and having like a personal one-to-one conversation to see if you'd be right for it. Yeah. So the woman who called me, sweet woman, like we ended up hitting it off, like having a great conversation.
Yeah.
Like she ended up telling me the price for it, and I was like, "Whoo,
Yeah,
that's not gonna happen." But it was just such a good conversation. She ended up recommending this book to me. And this book is called The Surrender Experiment.
Okay.
So it's about this guy who he's like a student. He's like a graduate. He's like in the field of like wherever you study microeconomics, macroeconomics.
Yeah.
He's in one of those real tough fields. About to go for his PhD. And he's a student, and he's basically at a point where he's like, I'm not happy. I'm super smart. I can calculate all these numbers and do this, and that, but I'm not happy
inside.
And I kind of related to that. I was like, wow, I'm making this amount of money, but this don't feel like my purpose.
Right.
So the guy ends up becoming like real into meditation, and a part with meditation, he learns this idea of surrender. So meditation kind of brought him peace, and it kind of quieted his mind down to the point where he was like, you know what? I don't even care if I graduate. I'm just going to quit school. I'm going to go move into the middle of the woods.
Focus on his happiness.
And I'm just going to meditate for the rest of my life.
Right.
So he's doing that, and he calls it surrendering. All of these great things start happening to him. So while living out in the woods, and I'm not going to run through the whole book, but he basically ends up like starting a whole like construction company. He ends up starting a whole company with like medical software, something with like processing software. He ends up just doing a whole bunch of amazing things while still pursuing what he was going to pursue. Right. One of the things that his professor in school was like, yo, I want you to write your thesis. And he's like, I haven't been to school in how many months? I've just been in the woods meditating. What do you expect me to write about? I don't even want to be here. And he ends up writing his thesis on like meditation and just like whatever he was going through.
Yeah.
And it becomes a hit. Like it gets to the point where people are traveling from around the world to come to his little hut in the woods to meditate.
Okay.
But all of this came about because he surrendered, and he was like, I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to go with it. So I say all that to say I've kind of been applying the same idea.
Same concept.
So when that job came my way, when my friend put that word in for me and sent me the interview, I was like, yo, I'm just going to surrender to it. I didn't apply for it. It must be a reason that it just fell in my lap.
Right.
So I ended up going to the interview. They ended up inviting me back for a second interview, and I haven't heard from them until this week. They were like, hey, you'll probably find out in the next 2 weeks. So if I get it, then I guess I'll be doing that. But if I don't, then it's just not meant to be. Like, my plan is to stick to my word of just, focusing on myself and like my health, and whatever falls in my lap. I saved up a good amount of money, so I'm not in a rush to find a job or whatever. But I know that time is going to come, but I'm not focused on it. Like, I've been also focusing on being in the present. A part of reading that book, I actually started to do my own meditation practices and like stretches and yoga and stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff works.
Hands down. Yeah. It's what I want to do is we want to definitely get you back on just to like, this is the first part of your like journey, like your new chapter right now. So I'm definitely interested to see where you're at like in another like 6 months to a year. So we're definitely gonna follow. Yeah. We're gonna follow this story and we're gonna keep on going. So no pressure, but
nah. I love it. I love it. You know, my goal in life, you know, I want people to understand that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
Agreed.
You know, we were talking about school earlier and like public school versus Catholic school. Mm-hmm. I think school, they don't really teach you how to think. They tell you how to think, right. And they program you to think to a certain ceiling to be able to get a certain kind of job and be a certain kind of person.
Right.
In college, I took a class on, you know, the like social classes.
Yeah.
And how it's just like a cycle and just keeps happening. Like, depending on where you live and the income of your family or whatever, mm-hmm. the school that you go to will teach you to, what's the word? Like, reproduce that same social class. So it's kind of like everyone...
Basically, you are who you surround yourself around with.
Exactly. But if you go, I bet you, if you go to school that Donald Trump's kids or whatever went to, they're not teaching the same thing that you're learning at IS, whatever, you know?
Agreed.
But it's sad. So I've learned all this through reading and just like living and experiencing. Mm-hmm. If I wish people, and my goal is to help people open their eyes and see that you don't have to be what your parents are or what the world tells you to be. You can literally be whatever you want. As cheesy as that sounds.
And
go.
That's the biggest thing that we try to focus on too, like letting everybody know that you can do whatever you. How old are you right now? 26. And I feel like that is the age everybody really starts finding out like, I want to do this. All the years before that, when you're 18, you don't know what the fuck you want to do.
No,
like,
exactly. It's a setup.
That's why I don't like college, because it's like I'm 18. I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So it's like you want me to think right now what I want to do for the rest of my life. It's hard to do that because you're always shifting. Mm-hmm. You're always growing.
Can't even drink yet.
Exactly.
Like, here, we're going to send you away for 4 years by yourself, no parents. Good luck.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. I'm
That's
like,
a setup for failure.
I always tell people like, if you're like 22, 21, even if you're like 18, 19, you think the world's again. You think like the world is like out there. You're about to do mad stuff. I want to do this. I'm going to do this. You don't know what you're going to do. Like, and I kind of seen a trend of like 26, 27, 28, even like early 30s. Like that's when people figure out, this is what I want to do. And I feel like, everybody needs to chill. Stop trying to rush life. Stop trying to do this or do that. Just take a chill pill and get those experiences. Go to college, get those experiences. Go do these bullshit jobs that you don't want to do or that you want to do or you think that's what's going to do. And then kind of find your lane right there. And then all that experience is going to say, this is what I'm passionate about. And it seems like you're kind of finding your passion right now. I took that same leap of faith like what you did right too. I quit my job and I went to like live with my sister in she lived in like North Miami for a while, for like a month or two. And I did that same exact thing when I quit my job. And I kind of didn't know where I knew I wanted to trade. I knew I wanted to be in finance. And I kind of didn't know exactly how I was going to get to the point where I'm at now or anything like that. So that's the same exact leap of faith I took. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to do what I had a great job working in the great job, a field that I went to college for. And I was just like, this is not for me. This is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So let me just stop right now while I'm still relatively young and go on and make some mistakes. And that's exactly what I do. And I just found my way through there, like different experience, trying different stuff. Like I drove trucks before. I drove Uber. I done so many different stuff. And I kind of said, this is where I want to do. And I found my lane that way. So I feel like you're on the right track. I appreciate you for coming on. I don't know if you want to have any closing remarks. Where can people find you?
Instagram. So CWILEY_. Mm-hmm. Post a lot of interesting things, I think.
Yeah. We'll put
That's all that matters.
We'll put that in the link in the description so they could definitely find you. So, like I said, I appreciate you for coming now. No, H, you want to say anything?
No, keep going.
Yeah, we appreciate you for coming now. To all the listeners, like you said, we'll leave everything that he mentioned, all the books that he mentioned, all the topics that he mentioned. We'll leave that in the link below. So if you guys wanted to check all those stuff out too, or if you guys want to get direct contact with him, like support him on his journey, ask him what he's doing. If you relate to anything, if he's in the field or he done something something that you might throw as interest that you might want to try, I'm sure he could connect you with the proper people. And like I said, we appreciate you guys for listening every week. You can find H at Hansome Kelly _. You can find me at Way Too Irrational. You can find our camera guy Alehandro if you need anything, whether it's anything recorded, anything visuals, anything with a camera, you can hit him up. Everything's in the link in the description. Let me just say one last
thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, go ahead.
What I want people to understand is that what's meant to be will be. At the end of the day, we're all meant for something. How you get there is, that's all a part of it. Like when Joel Embiid says trust the process, that's like a real thing. Like you really just gotta go with it. Go with your gut. They call your gut your second brain for a reason. Like when they say go with your gut feeling, like that's a real thing. Like your gut has some type of whatever it's lined with is similar to what your brain is lined with, but there's more down there. So rely on more feeling than thought, because your brain can really trick you and make you think things that aren't real.
So true.
Fear and all that. That's all thought based.
True.
So go with what you feel.
And we're gonna end on that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Right. Everybody, take care. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you back next week. Later.